Yeah. She's the first female chief of staff, and she might be the best chief of staff too, but she's doing a great job. Thank you, Susie. So Susie got him on, and I just went one after another. I called Germany. No, we will not do that. I said, no, we're going to put a 25% tariff, which is, by the way, about 7 times more than they would have to pay by raising their drug, like 7 times. This wasn't like a little bit more, 7 times more. And I may do that for Greenland, too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of the, in fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen. So I spoke to the top 10 countries. They all said no, and within about 2 minutes, they all agreed. And we were off to the races. And now we have favored nations. It's called most favored nations. So if France is paying, let's say, $20 or $30 instead of $10, we are going to pay that 20 or 30. We pay the lowest price, whatever the lowest price is. So if France is paying $100, but Germany's paying $20, we pay what Germany pays. So we go from a horrible situation on drugs, prescription drugs, to the lowest price anywhere in the world. Is that a correct statement, Oz? Because they're going to blame you. If you want to correct me, you can, but you won't be here for long if you do. They'll
You're
say,
correct, Mr.
Oz has
President.
left employment. No, but is that a correct statement?
That's absolutely correct statement. And that's what we want to codify in the great healthcare plan.
Yeah.
That's
what
why
we're
it's so
codifying.
important.
That's
Because if
right.
the president's not here, there's a flight risk with these companies not obliging us anymore, because I think it's the strength of your personality, but also they know they will follow through with the threats if we don't act. So we believe other countries will change their opinions, and so will drug companies. So we've got to get it into legislation.
Well, if you have the wrong president, the countries have tremendous influence over us. They look, why did we go to an income tax system instead of a tariff system? We had the wealthiest nation. If you go back to the 1800s, 1887, we had money, so much money, we didn't know what to do with it. But the countries at that time, same, no different. They have a tremendous influence over this country. For whatever reason, I don't know, but they do. So if you have the wrong president, they'll change the system in 2 minutes. I mean, they'll change it. And the drug companies are very powerful, too. You have to deal with them. In this case, it was both. I mean, you had a problem with the drug companies, but you had a tougher problem in theory, other than the fact that I understood how to deal with them. And I'm the tariff king, and the tariff king has done a great job. And I hope we win the Supreme Court case, because if we don't, be a shame for our country. Be a shame. We have a great, safe, beautiful country now. We're doing better than we've ever done. We hit 42 stock market highs during the 11-month period that I've been here. There's never been anything like it. Stock market's hitting a new high again today. So it's it's been incredible. So just to end it on this, because it's such a big subject and it can't be explained by reading. As good as my speechwriter is, he's fantastic, but he can't write it in one sentence what we're talking about. So we're going to get most favored nations. We will be taking prescription drugs down to levels never even contemplated. And that's all great for healthcare, because when you're paying a tiny fraction of what you had anticipated paying prior to today, prior to this month, this all took place over the last month and a half. And the sad part is that when we first announced it, and we did it in a little bit more general form, when we first announced it, the Times did a story on page 22 or something, way back in the little story in the back of the newspaper. This is the biggest revolution in the history of medicine in this country, because it's price. You're going to buy the drugs for a small fraction of what you were paying for them last month. And I tell the story of my first term. I was the one, after 28 years, that got drug prices down. It was either 1/4 or 1/8 of 1%. I got them down for the year. First time in 28 years. I was so proud of myself, I called a news conference. I said, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 28 years, drug prices have gone down for the year.